My fellow bad guys, I, Lex Luthor, your leader, will speak now about my, Lex Luthor's plan. My villainous plan. Question the plan at your peril.
As many of the viewers of the channel probably know, I am an enormous X-O Manowar fan from Valiant Comics, or at least I was. And, I appreciate everything that's gone on with X-O Manowar. Me specifically, though, I like the Eric of Dacia Visigoth warrior version of X-O Manowar that was introduced by Robert Venditti in 2012 as like the first comic series that led the Valiant Comics relaunch when Dinesh Shamdasani decided to relaunch the series. I've been a huge fan of X-O Manowar. I have not been reading the current series because everything has been so bad at Valiant. Let me explain that. So if you go and read Rye from Dan Abnett and you've never read Rye before, you probably like that. Like, he's a good writer and he's doing it. But if you read the original series and the event that coincided with it, 4001 AD, you're probably not going to like it because it's not the same character. He changed a lot about the character as far as motivations, things that he would do. So it doesn't work for me. Rye is one of my favorite characters as well. That's like my favorite comic story of all time. So I'm quite partial to it. So I started on Fallen World, I fell off. I started up on Ryan, I was like, no, it's the same issues. Then we go over to like Bloodshot, which was Tim Seeley, Brett Booth. The art was fantastic. Brett Booth has fantastic feel for Bloodshot as far as art. Tim Seeley has no feel for Bloodshot as far as a character. He did not get the character either. I fell off of that one pretty easy. There was one before that. I can't remember the name of it for the life of me, but it was an 8-issue series that had 3 different writers by the end of it. It was awful. I think Zach Thomas and Lonnie Nadler started out. It was so bad. I think it might have been Rising Spirit, but I might be wrong as far as the subtitle on that one. But it's been really weird out of Valiant. Like, X-O Manowar is their flagship character. I would say Bloodshot is like number 2. Then you have Ninja K and Shadow Man. There have been many months in their publishing where they haven't released any comics with those 3 characters: X-O Manowar, Ninja K, Shadow Man. There was a Ninja K miniseries called Killers from B. Claymore. I don't know about that one. I would never support any creator that purposely goes out there and targets war veterans. I'm not going to do that. I'm not even going to do that to go make fun of them. He can keep his money. So I don't know about Killers. If you say it's good, I'm going to have to believe you. But other than that, like those 3 main characters outside of Bloodshot, who obviously was going to be in the movie, they've done nothing with. Now, they did announce last year that they had a new X-O Manowar coming out from Dennis Hopeless Howell. And as soon as I heard that name, bells were ringing in my head for a lot of reasons. He's not a very good writer, but when you think about the history of X-O Manowar, this is a character that was created by Jim Shooter. Obviously, in the early days, the beginning days of Valiant Comics, Jim Shooter had left Marvel. He created his own comic company called Valiant. This was his flagship character. Now, his version of X-O Manowar is different. Like, his X-O Manowar is like a caveman that has a power armor suit on him. Mark Waid also wrote that version of X-O Manowar as well before Valiant kind of went under after it was acquired by Acclaim. Dinesh Shamdasani acquired Valiant, relaunched the brand. Robert Venditti was the writer for the relaunch of X-O Manowar. We got a different version of the character. Essentially, what Eric of Dacia is just think Conan the Barbarian in an Iron Man suit. That's the bare bones of it. If you've never read it before, that's kind of what the character is. He's a deadly warrior with a very powerful suit, so he's very dangerous. Maybe a little bit volatile. That was kind of part of the character progression along the way. And obviously, Robert Venditti's work on that was so good, he got picked up by DC Comics. Was the guy that he didn't replace, but he's the guy that came in after Jeff Johns and Green Lantern. He finished up that I think it was New 52 stuff. He did 50 issues of Hal Jordan and Green Lantern Corps. He was the Green Lantern guy for a very long time at DC Comics. And when he moved over to DC, Matt Kindt, who was writing Ninja K and a few other series at Valiant, another very accomplished writer in his own right. You think Mind Management and some of the stuff he's done on the indie scene, all very high quality stuff, very influential. he came over and he started writing X-O Manowar because he was kind of like their A-list, their top flight comic book writer. And his X-O Manowar is a little bit different in the fact that the setting, like he leaves Earth and he's stranded on an alien planet, and he doesn't want anything to do with the suit anymore. There's a little bit of a conflict, so he's kind of got to put away on the side, and then he ends up conquering a planet, but he and the suit make amends, and it turns out he's a great warrior, he's a great general, he's not a good political leader. That was his story. It got interrupted by Harbinger Wars 2. You could see that Matt Kent wanted nothing to do with it anymore. I think he might have actually been, he might have written Harbinger Wars 2, but you could tell there was a lot of interference. That thing bombed. It sucked so bad. It just, ever since that happened, the only good thing I've read was the end of Christos Gage's Ninja K. Everything else has been bad. So I was not looking forward to Dennis Hopeless Hallam's X-O Manowar. I saw an article on it. I couldn't believe it, so I was like, let me go read the first 4 issues. This week, the 4th issue came out. Let me see what I think. These are my thoughts. I cannot believe how off base Dennis Hopeless Hallam is as far as Eric of Dacia, X-O Manowar, the character. He's a bumbling idiot in this comic book. We open up and he's one-handed, if you don't know that. He lost his hand when he was taken by the Vine, which are an alien creature. That's how he got the suit. He eventually bonded with the suit on the Vine spaceship. That's how he got it. So he doesn't have a hand. He's playing basketball. That's like the punchline of a joke. A one-handed man playing basketball. He's trying to be cool and fit in. Eric of Dacia would never be, out playing hoops, trying to learn basketball. He's got way more important things on his mind. We'll get to that. We also learned that everybody thinks X-O Manowar is an idiot now, even though he was essentially the most powerful superhero in the world. He'd already gained the world's trust multiple times, but apparently he's a complete bumbling idiot now. This Mr. Whitaker guy is launching his own private space platform. I mean, he's Elon Musk. Elon Musk here, also known as Mr. Whitaker, and he intercepts his rocket and he blows it up because he thinks it might be hostile. And it turns out, he's an idiot and everyone talks about how stupid he is. No one likes X-O Manowar. He goes to intervene in the Ukraine due to some conflicts, and he ends up, everyone dies and it's all his fault and everyone thinks he's an idiot. This has never been the character. He's had issues, because he is a Visigoth warrior. He isn't always the most strategic minded when it comes to negotiations or coming to the table to talk about things. He is absolutely a man of action, but he wins. He might blow some stuff up along the way, but he's going to win. And that's kind of who the character is. And that's like the conflict between him and the U.S. government, which is solved during Robert Venditti's run, is that, hey, you need to slow your roll. You can't be blowing everything up. You need to work with us. If we work together, this will all be fine. And we'll help you out. I'll get to that part here in a minute too. But this is not X-O Manowar. Now, there are a couple of moments, well, more than a couple. There are some moments where it does somewhat feel like him, where he goes in there like a bull in a china shop, and he starts trying to take stuff down when maybe she should strategize on what he's doing. So there are a couple of hints of who the character is, but for the most part, Dennis Hopeless Hallam's take on Eric of Dacia and X-O Manowar is completely new. It does not really borrow from the character's history. I'll get into that even more here in a few minutes, and it's awful. One of the things that comes with X-O Manowar's power suit is Shanhara, which is the power suit itself. It's sentient. The two have grown to bond over the years. Eric of Dacia and Shanhara, the sentient portion of his power suit, they work together, and the power suit helps him out, gives him information, lets him know what's going on. But in this version of X-O Manowar, and I saw this comparison, it's very apt. Basically, his Shanhara is Skeets now, and Eric of Dacia is essentially Booster Gold. The sentient robot is now really sassy. It's something that I would have expected Dan Slott to write in Iron Man. It's really stupid. The robot's never sounded like this before. It's really annoying. It does not get the relationship between the two. Literally, they're the only two people in the world that get each other. Sean Hara's been with him through all of this and seen all of his ups and downs and all the things that he wants to achieve. So he's basically ruined the relationship, and he's ruined the character of Sean Hara, the sentient portion of the suit. And he's just there for jokes now. It's infuriating. This portion here where he's talking about, he's explaining to him what basketball is and where it came from and how he should try a pick and roll, but he might need a teammate. Dennis Hopeless Hallam is not funny. And he was just the worst pick for a writer for X-O Manowar. It's awful. It was painful to get through these 4 issues, but a lot of comic books are painful to get through these days. And that's too bad. There's another thing that makes no sense. In this comic book, X-O Manowar resides in Canada. Why the fuck is Eric Abdasia in Canada? If you haven't read the series or the since the relaunch, when he escaped from the Vine spaceship, he found out that there's a whole community of Visigoths that were kidnapped from his time, still on the spaceship. He saves them. They come back to Earth, but time has changed differently, and they're in modern times. And his sole mission in life was to find a place for his people. He tried to put them back in their old where they would have been before. I believe it was Romania. That did not work out well, and that's why the world was trying to destroy him, and he was laying waste to everybody. But he ended up working out with, I believe her name is Colonel Capshaw now. I think she might have been a captain at the time. And he's been working with her. She's the commander of GATE, which is a U.S. secret military organization. And he's like their operation officer guy. He's the one that goes out and carries out missions with GATE in conjunction with them. Sometimes they provide a backup. But he works with the U.S. government. For him to do that, his Visigoth people, the people that he saved from the Vine in space and brought him back to today's Earth, that are essentially an entire civilization out of time, are residing in Nebraska. And that is his whole focus, and the reason that he's working for GATE and going out and saving the world is so they can stay there and be safe. Why in the fuck is he in Canada trying to play basketball? Why are they saying he's homeless and he has nowhere to live? He has an agreement with GATE. He lives in their headquarters. Sometimes he lives in Nebraska. He commutes between the two using the armor. It makes no sense whatsoever. Now, there was a little bit of falling out, I guess, between X-O Manowar and GATE at the end of Harbinger Wars 2, I think. But it's only hinted at that he might have been upset with what had happened and let Livewire go. He never said, I'm leaving GATE to go to Canada and find a new life so I can leave my people in Nebraska and they could be displaced again. It's completely stupid. He should not be in Canada. He shouldn't be homeless. He's a military operative working for GATE in the United States. This is beyond stupid. What else? Okay. There's another thing. One of the big components of this is after he trashes Elon Musk, aka Mr. Whitaker's rocket that he's using for his, privatized space program. He lures him to his yacht to let him know, listen, the world hates you. You need better PR, and I'm going to be your PR guy, and we're going to work together to get your public profile, off the fritz, and people be liking you again. Eric Abdasia could give 0 fucks or ever care about what anyone thinks about what he does. And that's one of the big problems, like his character flaws, is he could give a fuck. He is going to go blow some stuff up, and if you have a problem with it, whatever. That's why GATE has to work with it, because they can't stop him. So they're like, hey, we'll let your people be in Nebraska, but you got to work with us and listen to us. So him following along with this stupid plan, like, hey, we're going to get you out there. You're going to save some people from some volcanoes. There's going to be a fire that's going on. We're going to have you save some firefighters. We're going to work on your public image. And Eric Abdasia be like, you know what? I do have a public image problem. What do you think, Skeets? Skeets like, yeah, you definitely should work on this PR problem you got. Goes completely against every fiber of the character, whether it be Jim Shooter, Robert Venditti, or Matt Kentz. It's so stupid. It makes no sense whatsoever. It's awful. It is so cringy and dumb. And it's leading up to this. I'll get into that here in a minute, but Eric Adacia would never care what anyone thought about why he did anything. Hey, you didn't like it? I got the job done. I don't care if people think that I'm a bad guy. That it's not. He just cares about his people in Nebraska, and that's who the character is. And that's like his big flaw. This is so stupid. This goes against everything about the character, but he has to do this to set up this stupid plot line that he's going through. So at one point, X-O's fighting like this nanite cloud, which you wouldn't know is a nanite cloud because it doesn't look like there's any robots to it at all. It's just a green cloud of mist, and he's about to die. And he allows Whitaker, and Shanhara now allows Whitaker to like reprogram his suit and power him up, and write the DNA of Shanhara as he describes it. First of all, I don't think that you can write alien computer DNA with your Apple computer or whatever you have, Elon Musk. I don't think there's no way Shanhara would ever allow this. Certainly Eric would never go. Guess who the bad guy is? It hasn't been revealed yet, but it's Elon Musk. It's the billionaire that's trying to turn his PR. It's so stupid. Why would X-O Manowar ever need to power up his suit of armor? It's the most powerful weapon in the world. He is literally, and I do mean literally, destroyed an entire fleet of alien spacecraft just with that power suit. There were teams called armor hunters that landed on Earth. Their sole purpose is to hunt down people that had armor like that and kill them. Guess what? He destroyed all of them with relative ease, with some help from Livewire. He doesn't need that suit is exceptionally powerful. The biggest flaw with the suit is Eric. The suit itself is perfect. The flaw is the man that's guiding it, and that's what the story is really about, is his character growth and learning to work with the suit and maybe not being so destructive, maybe thinking a little bit more. But the idea that he would ever need to power up his suit, that Shanhara would ever allow him to power up his suit, and that Eric himself would ever admit that he needed to power up his suit is ludicrous and stupid. He destroyed an entire armada of alien spacecraft with that suit alone, by himself. He thwarted an entire alien invasion, I think multiple times now, using that suit. Totally ridiculous, completely stupid, very forced, so that Hopeless Hallam can talk about how Elon Musk being a private billionaire is evil. Who gives a fuck? And that's to say nothing of the art from Emilio Laiso. I don't know who this guy is. Valiant used to be the place for all the best up-and-coming creators in the industry. This is where Clayman got one of his first big breaks. This is where Tomas Giorello worked. The first artist ever to work on X-O Manowar was Carrie Nord as far as the relaunch. This has a history of great artists on this series. It's always got the best artists that Valiant Comics can afford. This is embarrassing. This isn't superhero level illustrations. This is really bad. It's a poorly written, completely out of character version of X-O Manowar, and to boot, the illustrations absolutely suck. Everything about this comic sucks, for the most part. Well, no, not for the most part. Everything about this comic book sucks. Valiant Comics has essentially destroyed X-O Manowar. I knew they were going to do it. I was staying away from the damn run because I didn't want to see what would happen. I knew that Heather Antos, I think she actually edits like one book, and this is the one book that she gets to destroy. And there's a couple of grammatical errors and things like that in there. That was going to show, but whatever. They've embarrassed themselves just enough with the art, the take on the character, and everything else. If you want to go with dig in there, there's plenty more embarrassment to that. Look at this cover. Is that an X-O Manowar cover to you? That is awful. This is an awful take on an amazing character. I knew this was going to happen, but you never believe it until you see it. And I went and saw it this week. It's very sad. Valiant Comics used to be just aces. Almost everything that they produced except for Faith was like excellent. Now they produce nothing but garbage. Every single character that's supposed to be a stalwart character important to the Valiant universe has been bastardized, been destroyed under this current regime. Obviously, Dinesh Shamdasani and Warren Simmons have moved on. They're not coming back. Valiant isn't coming back. It's just a dumpster fire. And it's so sad because it was, without a doubt, the best shared comic universe, superhero comic universe that you could read from 2012 till about 2017. It was just perfect. And this is what we get now. It's awful. This is Valiant Comics for you. They had months, multiple months, where they didn't release a single issue of X-O Manowar, Ninja K, or Shadow Man. We know Shadow Man's coming back with Cullen Bunn. I think Cullen Bunn's a terrible comic book writer, but I think he might get Shadow Man okay because he's a decent horror writer, as long as they don't have to make that character fit into anything. Ninja K looks awful. The preview art that they showed was embarrassing. It looked like something my 5-year-old would illustrate. Yeah, Valiant Comics is awful. I don't know. I shouldn't have went back and looked, but I had to once I saw that article. And it's worse than they made it out to be. It's way worse. What a dumpster fire. Congratulations. Congratulations on that big hire of Heather Ontos and promoting her up to your senior editor. She's brought in a lot of talent. All world-class talent. Valiant Comics these days.